Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name's Lisa. Thanks for joining us today, and today we're going to be making a recipe journal. I've long since needed something like this in my kitchen because I have got bits of paper from things printed off the internet all over the place. So I thought, why not have a handy place to stick it all. So get a cup of tea, stick around, and we'll have a step-by-step tutorial of this lovely book. And I hope you enjoy it and it inspires you to make something similar for your kitchen. Let's get into it, shall we? So to start the recipe book, I've found this beautiful paper on Etsy. I shall put a link in the description. It wasn't expensive and it was quite a big pack. There was about 300 sheets and it's all these beautiful flowers and it's all vintage and floral. And it is very, very pretty. So this is going to be the outside of our book. So the first things first is I've cut down a piece of hard card. This was just out the back of some vinyl. You know, you can buy vinyl flat in the 12, already cut to the 12 by 12. It was just the do not bend card in the back. So we've cut that down and it's cut to 10 inches by 7 inches. So you'll need a front and a back, and then we've got the spine, which is obviously 10 inches and then 2 inches wide. So for the spine, we've got this lovely bit of paper here, and this lovely decal of a knife fits perfectly under the spine. So I thought that would be a nice back of the book. And when we've cut it out, we won't get rid of the outside of the paper because it can be used for something else probably later in later in the project, who knows, or another project, but it's too pretty just to throw away, I think. Okay, so when you've cut your card out to size, we're going to be sticking this on. So let's start with the spine. Let's just move that one out of the way. And we will get a mat so we don't get any glue on our desk, because that's not what we want. There we go. Right then. So we want to cover this spine completely with glue, and we'll do exactly the same on the front. This is the exact same process for the front and back bits of card for the project. We want an even layer of glue because we don't want no bulges. If you get like lumpy glue and I don't know, like this, you'll get a lump in the card because it'll just be empty space. So we want a nice, try and get a nice layer of glue, all the same, all over. There we go. Perfect. So now we're going to stick this on. What a lovely knife. Now I want this knife to be in the middle, so I'm just going to gauge it. Like so. That's not the middle. Push it over a little bit. Can we push it over a little bit? Is that in the middle? Oh look, there we go, it's in the middle. It's a bit lopsided on this bit of card, on this paper, but that's going to get folded over, so that really doesn't matter. It's all be covered up, you're not going to be able to see any of that. Well, there we go. Just double check, we are in the middle. That looks alright, don't it? Slightly off centre, but I don't think that matters. Otherwise we would have chopped off that nice bit of writing at the top. So the next step is I've got this little corner cutter, and this is out of my bookbinding toolkit, which you can get from Amazon. And I'll put a link in the description. You can just use a ruler, but I choose to use this because it leaves a little bit extra on the corner, so you can't get overzealous with your cutting and cut a bit too far down, and then you end up with like a scruffy corner. We don't want that, do we? There we go. And this one. There we go. That is upsetting my eyes a little bit there. It's a bit pedantic, but I'm just going to trim this bit down. It's not needed, it really isn't, because none of this is going to be seen. It's all going to be underneath all the spine and the bindings. but just for my own sanity, because it looks a bit odd, I'm going to cut it off. See, that looks a bit better, don't it? I am daft. I'm sure you do things like that. We all do. Now it's got a slight bend, but once we've finished gluing, the next step will be to leave them to dry. But when I leave them to dry, I'm just going to weight them down like that, and then it will dry flat. So that's not something to worry about. I'm just going to push these corners up, just so when we come to glue, they've already got a bit of memory. Just makes it easier. And this is exactly the same thing you will do on the front and back as well. It's the front, back and the spine. This is exactly the same process. Let's stick a bit of glue down here. I'm going to do the long sides first, purely because when I do the top, I want to make sure these folds are in the right place, so there's no chance of any ripping or anything. There we go, there's one side. See, with that memory, we'll just give it a bit of a push down. There we go. Perfect. You see what I mean about the edges? Now, when we do the tops, we'll tuck those in like that, look. And then we should end up with a nice edge. Can you see that? Perfect. Let's do the other side. What we're building at the moment is the bones of a book that can be used not just for recipes. You could use it for anything. Any bits of paper that you've got lying around, or storage for photos, for bills, for receipts, even for your craft room, like with all your little bits, because you know what it's like with craft rooms, there's full of little bits of paper everywhere. Well, mine is anyway, and I can never have enough storage. There's one. Yep, see, look, we've folded the edges over and made some nice little tucks, so that's not going to get ripped or anything, is it? And then this one, look, we'll tuck the edges in. Use a bit of glue. And then we're going to fold it over. Then we're going to do exactly the same process on the front and the back, and then we're going to weight them down to dry. After that, we've got all our bits all covered. So we've got a front and back. I want the knife that way, and the spine. Now, I had a thought after the fact that I could have left these edges up and glued them onto there to make the spine. But that was a bit of an afterthought. And then I thought that was fine because I'm covering this inside in black. And I thought that's fine. But then I had another afterthought. When I bend it like that, there's going to see a black line. And I didn't like that either. So what I've done is, you know those bits I said save, we can use them for something else? I think we're going to use it here. And what we're going to do is, maybe that way, glue them onto the back of there, like that, and then use these flaps on the cover, and that matches a bit more, doesn't it? Just matches the colour in a bit more than, I think black would be too bold. But at this point you can do any option. You could use the black that we're going to cover over the back, because that's going to go over this spine bit anyway. Or you could make these tabs slightly longer and leave them not glued, and you can glue those tabs to the back there and have this joining them together. I mean, it's personal preference really, isn't it? My worry is always that the bend is not going to be strong enough. So I want to get that bend as strong as possible without making it too thick that it hinders the bend. But because this is going to be a recipe book, what I am going to do when we finish constructing it is I'm going to cover it all in some waterproof film, just the outside, not the inside, just in case, you know, you plonk it on your side in your kitchen. You don't want to get any watermarks on this lovely paper, because at the end of the day it is card and it is printed, and it's hard, isn't it, on the sides in the kitchen to make sure they're completely dry all the time, and this is where this is going to live most of the time. So just as that extra precaution, once it's fully constructed, we're going to cover it with some film just to stop water splashes getting on the cover. But we will go through all that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make the flaps to stick this middle part in. Now I don't think I need all this, do I? Let's have a look what we're thinking. Well, I think we will. But what we'll do is first we'll cut the height down, because they're too tall to start with, aren't they? So where's my ruler and my knife? But this is definitely an on-the-fly decision here. My mind is ticking over. We want to make it the best we possibly can, don't we? So let's see. We know this is 10 inches, but I'm going to do it just under 10 inches because we'll draw on the back. Just under 10 inches because we don't want any overlap on the outside. How much do you think? That's 10. We'll do there, shall we? I feel like that's a good width. I'll soon tell you if I'm wrong. Well, we'll just use the guides on this map. That's what they're there for at the end of the day, isn't it? Make sure we're getting it all straight. And there we go. So now we're going to stick it on, taper the corners. So I'm going to stick it on like this, that way. I'm going to make it slightly shorter, I believe, because it is going to be covered with the black that is going on the inside. But so this is another part that's not going to be seen, but I want to get it right because it's the backbone of the book, isn't it, the spine? So I want to try my best to get it perfect. Okay, so sticking them bits on the book, and then bits are going, that bit on the spine, that bit on the book. So I'm just going to, here she says, cut it at a diagonal like that, and like that. I want to say there is two there. There we go. There's our little flaps. And that will go like that. Oh, that looks much better in the corners, doesn't it? It matches loads better. I like that a lot. What about you? I do. I like that much more than just seeing plain black. Definitely. Okay. So that will go. I'll go like that. Perfect. Well, it's not perfect because it wants to go that way, but I want this straight edge just sticking out ever so slightly. You know what I do have? I have, out of the bookbinding kit that we use the thing from, we've got this little thing. I don't even know what it's called, to be fair, so I can't tell you. But it's in the kit. This is the full kit, look. and there's all different sizes and corners to make sure you get everything all lined up when you're cutting it. So we're going to do this and that, and there you go, look, you see, make sure it's lined up. Now if we stick that on, we can see where we need that to be. Perfect. We like that, don't we? Oh, here we're going in with the glue now, so there's no going back. Well, there is going back. We can always start again if we have to. I prefer not to. I don't know about you, but let's go in. Going in quite thickly but evenly because we want a good seal. There we go. Okay, all right. Now or never, people. Now or never. There. Bring it down a bit. There. Oh, I like that, look. I like that much better. Yeah. Sorry, I feel like I'm I feel like I'm trying to convince myself of what I'm saying, never mind you. Right. Right, so we're sticking that back on there. And we're going to put glue on this tab. I can sit and stare at it as long as I like. It's not going to make the decision to go ahead any different, is it? Sorry, that's my dog shaking. What are you doing, Harry? Yep, his name's Harry. He's a Shar-Pei. He's the love of my life. Don't tell my husband, though. I think he actually knows, because I think I might treat the dog a little bit better. I love the dog don't give me no grief, though. Right, there we go. Right, I want to make sure this is the right way up now. So that's the top. That's the right way. Oh. Nearly. She says. There we go. Take that out. You see now it's giving us an even gap all the way down. There we go. It's got a good seal now. I'm not going to try and bend it yet because I'm going to let it completely dry first. Don't want to muck it up. Well, we've had a tea break and we're all nice and dry. I've let the dog out for a wee. I've had a chat with the kids because, as you know, in the UK the kids are off school at the moment. Leave a comment if you like in the comments and let me know how you're getting on with your kids being off school. Are we ready? Are we ready for them to go back yet? Let me know. So now we've got a lovely bend. Look at the thickness on that. That's going to be able to hold some recipes, isn't it? Definitely. So the next step, we're going to be covering it because we want that waterproof covering on it with it being part of the kitchen. So I've got this. This was from my local craft store. You can get it online, which I have done in the past, and I will put a link in the description for you. And it's just self-adhesive book covering. You can get it from most places that sell craft supplies. Okay, so now we're just going to measure enough to cover our book. So we'll turn it this way. We want about an inch overlap all the way around. So this blue line go in there. So we can only tell how this is going to go, can't we? Not very well, probably. But be rooting for me. Yeah. Cross your fingers. We'll just give it one last. And we want a bit extra because it's going to want pushing into those gaps. Okay. Here goes nothing, she says. So we'll start in this corner and then we can pull it away from us, can't we? Ooh. Wish me luck. Oh no. Balls. Oops. Excuse me. There we go. Whew. So far so good. Oh, do you know what might help me here? This might be a good investment at this point. Just to make sure there's no air bubbles. I think the trick is to keep it as close as you can. But like I say, if you have any tips and tricks on this stuff, I am all ears. All ears. Because I hate it. And I'm going to moan about it the whole time I'm doing it. No, I won't subject you to that. I promise. Actually, take that back, I can't promise nothing. I think that's going on alright, isn't it? What do we think? Don't know. This is going to be tricky because we want to get it in that gap. I think I'm going to turn it around. Come out the way. Press it in. And then press it over. And we can come back and give that a good squidge. Oh, relax everybody, we did it. That was the tricky part. Right, now the corners are pretty self-explanatory. We do them the same as what we did these. These innards are going to be a bit tricky, we'll have to come back to them. But I'm going to get that little corner cutter again, I think. See, let's stick it on. Salt to tell into it. There we go. There we are. That bit's folded over just nice, look. So let's try the next one. I think this bit's going to be slightly different because we've got this dodgy bit here, haven't we? So I think I'm going to take a slice from here and I'm going to have to just eyeball this, I think. So we take a slice from there, like that. And we'll push down that corner. And then we're going to pull it up. Perfect. Now, shall we turn it over together Everything's all pressed down nice. Let's give it a turn over. There we go. Look at that. I don't know whether you can see how shiny that is, but that is fully waterproof now. It's gone in the cracks nice because we pushed it in, didn't we? Excellent. That's it then. That's the bulk of the outside done. I've got some black card here. It's just basic 180 GSM black card, but I can link it in the description by all means. It's just from Amazon. I do get a lot of my stuff from Amazon because it's just easier to have everything delivered. Okay, so we're going to put it like this. We're going to make sure our join's in the middle because that's going to be getting covered over with all the stuff to put the spine in, where we're going to attach our pages to. So we're going to cut across here. I think we'll round our edges off just for, I don't know actually. Yeah, we're going to round our edges off just slightly. Okay, we've cut those to 23.5. Now we're just going to get our corner rounder, which you've seen this before on this channel. I will link it in the description. It's only from Amazon. Okay, let's get the inside of our book. We'll check it's the right way up. Not that I think it matters at this point, but it's better to check every time because you know the moment you don't check is the moment something goes awry. Yeah. So like I say, we're going to overlap in the middle because you're not going to see that overlap. But even though it's not glued down, it already looks so much better, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. Okay, let's get sticking. Right, we're all stuck in, all stuck down. We just need to dry, but that looks so much better, doesn't it? And it's not affected our spine at all. And we're all stuck down. We will be sticking some pockets and things in there later on, but for now, while this is drying, we are going to work on the centerpiece here. That's going to hold everything in place. It does help to move it around just a little bit. Getting an angle, different angles of light do show if you've got any bubbles in there. Okay, but yeah, that's turning out really good. Impressive. So for the spine part, we're going to be making, I don't know whether you've seen them, you probably have if you're here. It's like a concertina type thing. So when we make the pages are going to be pockets. We can slide them onto the concertina and glue it, and that's what makes the pages. Does that make sense? There's probably a better way I could have explained that, but you know what I mean, I'm sure. Because if you're watching a video about making a journal, you're going to have had some experience, I think, or at least this won't be the only video that you'll be watching. So I'm going to assume, on the most part, you've seen things before. And if you haven't, and there is something that you want to know more about, just drop a comment and I shall see what I can do. There we go, so we're going to leave that to dry. And in the meantime, we're going to get another piece of black card. And we're going to work on this. Okay. So now we've cut our paper to size, we are going to go through and score. And I think, how wide's the paper? Let's have a goose. 21. Okay, 21. So I'm going to go 2 centimetres off the edge, like this, and put a score mark in. I'm going to go 3 centimetres. Yeah, that's better. And then I'm going to go, so 3 centimetres. Let's just put that fold in so we can see it, shall we? There we go. And then we're going to have, I'm going to do score marks every 1 centimetre, I think. Okay, so each one of those score marks is at 1.5 centimetres. And now we're just going to concertina the folds, she says. There we go, all our folds are now concertinaed. So if we push them together, we should end up with something that looks like this. So how many pages did we get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's plenty. But again, I am just going to make sure each one of these sides is the same, just for continuity. There we go. So now we've got our 5 pages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know that don't sound a lot, but you've got to think every page is going to be a big pocket, and not to mention the pockets have got fronts and backs, which you can also put pockets on or flips out and things. So that is a heck of a lot of room, I would say. So next step, we're just going to take the corners off like this. And like this. There we go. And now we're going to go through and we're going to stick the concertinas together. So I'm going to use double-sided tape. You can use glue if you like, you know, whatever you decide, because it's your book and you know what you've got at home in your stash. But I think my personal preference is double-sided sticky tape for this bit, because I think holding it together while it's gluing will be annoying, for no better word for that. So come back here. That's just a lot quicker and simpler, I think, isn't it? There we go, number 1. So we're going to go through and we'll do the next one. Okay, there we go. there's all our places to put our folds. So I'm just checking. There we go. So you could have more than 5 if you wish. I guess it depends on how much space you've got, how big a paper you've got. But I think, although that looks quite small, I think when the pages, we want room for the pockets to grow, don't we? And to stick bits in, and we don't want an overflow of stuff. Maybe. I don't actually know. But I'll stick another one in. Don't know, you know. Where's that fold? So there. And where's that fold? Do I think we could have a double that? I don't actually know, you know. I think yeah, you know, I do think yeah. So let's go and make another one. Now we've doubled up, I think that looks a lot better and a lot fuller, don't you? I definitely think it does. We'll see. This is learning as we go. But we need to make sure now that all these are inside the spine. So I'm going to line up there, and that's going to be the first one. And then the second one, we're going to overlap in the middle, but we're going to line up to where the last one's just on the edge there. And that is how they are going to glue in. What do we think? I think that's good. And I'm not worried about this because we'll put a fancy down there. Maybe some frilly something or other. We'll see when we get to there, because I have no clue at the moment what the inside looks like. We're going to be tackling that together and winging it. Well, not winging it, just, you know, seeing what we think looks good and what doesn't. Because I think on these sort of things, a lot of it's creativity and imagination, isn't it? So you've just got to go with the flow sometimes. And don't overthink it too much, she says. Queen of overthinking. Just going to glue one side, because I don't want to balls it up. So I'm just going to glue the one side to start with. There, I do believe, is where I want it. Yeah, I think so. And I've got an idea for down there, just to cover that bit up. I mean, we could have done this first really before we put the backing on, but I wanted to make sure that we had good solid bends. Oh, it fits in there quite snugly, doesn't it? Excellent. So there are all our page foldings. Now we just need to wait for them to dry. And while we do that, we shall decorate down there, I think. We could perhaps stick our pockets on the inside of this. And then we'll be making all our individual pockets for these pages. So it's 10 in total. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 pockets. Okay, so now I've added pockets onto the inside. I've not bored you with adding them on. Everybody knows how to add a pocket on, don't we? I've just cut a piece of card which is 12 by 23.5 centimetres, rounded off the edges, inked the edges and glued the 3 sides. And I've just put a pocket on each side and this is again paper out the same set from Etsy, which is linked in the description. So now we're going to go through and we are going to make all the pockets and decorate them. Okay, so here's one of our page pockets already made. Each page is going to need about 2.5 slices of black, and when we're finished, you see the open bottom is going to go over this, which was going to have glue on it, and then we're going to glue it on like that, and that will be the page with the pocket, like so. And we'll put some decoration on the pockets. So let's build a pocket together. Right. So we'll start by making the main bulk of the pocket. So to start with, the 2 slices of paper are 18 centimetres in width. So we'll just whip that little bit off the edge. And then in length, I cannot remember. Let's just have a quick measure. 24.5. So they are 24.5 in width, but we need to allow an extra 2 centimetres to fold over. So 25.5, 26.5, like so. So we'll just take that bit off the edge. And while it's in here, we'll just put the score line. We want 1 centimetre, 2 centimetre, and we're just going to score straight down. And that will give us our lip. There, like that. Has that gone through to the other one? It has. So we need to do this process another 9 times to get the full, as many of them as we need. To make the flip part, we're going to take another sheet of paper, and this is the flip part. We can get 2 out of 1 page. So we need to do it 10 by 24.5. So 24.5 this way. And we need 10. And we need 10. There we go, 2 pockets, two parts of the flip. So these just need, again, a 2 centimetre score. So your initial flip is going to be 8 centimetres because we've got this flip here. I don't think flip's the technical term. The fold. The hinge. Oh, I don't know. What would you say? Hinge is a good word, isn't it? I like that. Let's get that out of the way. Okay, so now we've done that, we're going to round the edges off on the pocket for a bit of a nice finish. There we go. And then we're going to construct the pocket. So to construct the pocket, I'm going to use double-sided sticky tape. So now I've found my double-sided tape. It was hidden between a few pieces of paper. I've been searching for quite some time and it was right in front of my eyes. Okay, so I'm just going to cut some tape. You don't have to use tape. You can glue it or staple it or, you know, whatever you've got at home. I'm just choosing to do this because my husband got me this double-sided tape from work and it's really strong. So it will hold everything in place nicely. So we're going to just, on the inside, we've got the double-sided tape. We're just going to put and line this up with the edge and fold it over. like so. And that's one side of our pocket done. And we're just going to do the same on this side, which is almost half done for us, look, because it's already folded over. So let's get another piece. Like I say, you can use glue, Pritt Stick, which is the stick glue that we have in the UK. I'm not sure if it's still called Pritt Stick in America or other places. In the UK we call it Pritt Stick, which is just the glue, you know, that comes in the tube. Put that over the edge. What an honour. Too busy talking about glue, lot. There we go. Just make sure it's flat and lined up. Stick it down. And that, obviously we're not going to seal the bottom because that's how it's going to seal to the book. That's the pocket, more or less done. We're just going to take the flip, the closing, and we're going to attach that when I find the end. There we go. Let's try and cut it the right length this time, eh? I mean, I know it's not going anywhere because it's really super strong. So it doesn't matter really if it doesn't go right to the end, but and then we're just going to line this up. I'm going to put the flap behind, make sure we get as close as we can. We're just going to fold it over the whole thing. There we go. So now the part that's on the outside of the book, we've got the little pocket there. And obviously that we will seal when we attach it to the book. So now we've got 2. We just need another 8. So if you need help with the pocket again, you can always rewind the video a little bit. But I'm going to go ahead and make the other 8 pockets. It's took some time, but all our pockets are now completely finished, like the one I showed you. Open at the bottom and the flip at the top. So now we've got to go through and we're going to decorate them. So we're going to do one together and then I will do the rest. The design I've gone for, I looked on Creative Fabrica and found some nice floral paper for some of them because I thought too much of the really busy paper, although it's beautiful, might be a bit busy for the inside. But I do have other ideas for that. So I've printed off 3 sheets of this one, which is, I just typed into Creative Fabrica, floral digital paper, and I picked one, and this was the one I chose. Well, I've chose a couple, but this is the one we're going to use for this pocket. So we're going to need 3 sheets, and we need to make 2 sheets, 23.5 centimetres by 17 centimetres. So we will get our cutting board. There we go. And we're going to cut them 23.5 by 17. I've gone for this size because when it's on the pocket, it gives a nice black edge all around the outside, and it's just a centimetre shorter than the original measurements. So 23.5 by 17. Okay. Oops. So that's 2. And then the third sheet, we're going to do 17 there we go, by 18. Because this is going to be the pocket, so we want it slightly smaller. There we go. Just move this out of the way. Excuse me. Right, we've got our 3 sheets. We've got all our offcuts. I'm going to use this offcut as well to put on the flap. The rest of the offcuts I'm just putting in a box of leftovers because they've always got a use. Okay, so let's start on our pocket. Let's pull the pocket back in. So this is going to go here like that. And we are just going to take the corner rounder around the edges. Like so. And then we're going to get some distress ink and just rough the edges up a bit. It covers that white card up on the side just to finish it off and gives it a bit more of that vintage look. So we're going to be doing this on all of them, which is a choice. You don't have to, your choice. You don't even have to use this ink, you could use whatever colour you want really. Again, it's your journal, your recipe book, your design, you can do whichever way you wish. Okay, that's that bit done. So on the two big sides, we're going to do exactly the same, and we're just going to round the corners off and then do the distress ink. For this final piece, we're going to round the corners on the bottom. That is the bottom, isn't it? Yeah. So round the corners on the bottom. Oops. There we go, make sure we've grabbed it. And just move that along for a second. Okay, so we've rounded the corners on the bottom. And for this one, I've got this stamp. This was a gift from my aunt, so I don't actually know where it's from, but you can get a lot of stamps like this on the internet. And we're just going to stamp this pattern across the top. So we're going to go into the middle and give it a stamp. You have to press down quite hard. Let's turn it around. So I've got a bit more leverage. There we go. And there we go, you see. Puts the lovely heart. So now we're just going to line the heart up on this side. Press down again. And line the heart up on this side. Just so it lines up with the pattern that's on the stencil guideline. And then we're going to press again. There we go. Slightly messy affair that one is, so we'll just shift our bits out of the way. Okay, so now let's give the pocket a lovely edge, which you could just cut a nice wave in if you wanted to. You know, you can do whatever you wish really. So now we're just going to distress ink the top, going slightly onto these love arts a bit just to make more of a, you know, when it's on top of the other page, you'll be able to see the pocket really clearly. So I'm just rubbing onto those love hearts a little bit. And then we're going to go down the edges like we did on the others. So now we're going to construct the pocket and stick everything on the pocket, because I feel like this will be easier while it's all not attached to the book. So we're going to go through, and every single pocket, I'm going to be using different papers, but the general premise of the whole thing is exactly the same. So we've got some glue and the trusty old brush, and I think I'm going to start here. So I'm just going to put this there like that. And that will not make the inside of the pocket, and we've still got a nice black edge right around the outside. And there we go, that's one pocket. So now that, I'm going to leave it to dry, and because we've used all that glue, it does have a bit of a bend in it, so I'm just going to leave it to dry, pressed under something hard, just to make sure it stays perfectly flat. Do I want a bit more glue in that corner? No, it's fine. Yep, so I'm going to leave that pressed under something hard, just to make sure it dries and it's all got contact. But all the pockets are going to be done in that way, leaving the bottom open, don't forget, because we need to leave the bottom open to attach them to the book, which was what we're going to do when we've done all the pockets. So I'm going to go and choose some more papers, and I'll meet you back here when we've got all the pockets all made up, ready to insert in the book. Right, that took some time, but I've gone through and each one is done like we said, and I've done some different patterns, but they're all finished now. I've got some of those ones in with the nice Etsy paper, and instead of, I know we've got space for 10, but I've done 8 because halfway through doing this I had a brainwave, and so we're going to go on a little side quest, and we're going to add a place in the middle of this journal. I've just got a book, and I've quickly covered it with some of the paper to match. If you'd like a tutorial on book covering and just jazzing up notebooks, let me know and we can arrange it. Just leave a comment. But what we're going to do now with this is we're going to put it in the middle like this, so it can be removed and put back in. So let's get on with that. So as you can see down here, I've done the first one, and we're just going to put eyelets in. You don't have to put eyelets in, but it does give it a nice finish in the end. You can just make a hole with a hole punch if you want to. So what we're going to do is stick an eyelet here. So this little tool, it comes with eyelets, which I got from Amazon, which I can link in the description. Use the top part, you just push it through and it makes the hole. There we go. And then you get your eyelet, and I'm going to put the good side on the back like so. I hope you can see that. And we're just going to get the tool and push it together, so just make sure it's clicked into place like so, and then just push it down really tightly. Did we do it? We did. There we go. So the next step is we're just going to add some elastic in the middle. So I've got this elastic. It's a bit thin for the project, but like I say, this is a off the cuff idea. So we're going to roll with it, and we're going to double it up slightly longer than what we need to give us a bit of wiggle room. And then we're going to cut it like so. Okay, what I'm going to do on this side is I'm going to tie a knot, but I'm going to leave a bit of a circular part there. Hope you can see that. So I'm going to leave a circular part, because then we can dangle a charm or something off that later on. Just going to put another knot in to make sure it doesn't come through. So now on the top hole, we're just going to shove that through. So we shove that through there, look. So we can use this bit and we can dangle a keychain or anything off it, some beads. But we'll get to that at a later date. Like I said, I just want to get this in before I go any further, because once the pages are in, this part's going to be a bit more tricky. So I'm going to put those through there. Make sure they're not twisted. I mean, this will hold two notebooks. I mean, I'm going to just stick one in there, but there is 2 strings, so that it could hold 2 notebooks. So now we just want to tie a knot on this side, so we're going to pull it tighter than what we want it. But we want it tight on the inside, but not too tight, because we don't want to stress the elastic too much, because elastic does degrade over time. So I'll put just one in. It's going to need two, but I'm just going to check it. There we go, double knot that. Oops, wrong place. We'll give it another one. It's quite hard to see when it's black. That should do it. That will do. That'll do. Now you could put some beads on there as well if you wanted, or I'm just going to cut it off for this project, but you could dangle beads from the bottom and from the top if you was feeling a bit jazzy. Okay, so if I just get the book that I made, like I say, I just simply covered a normal notebook just to make it match the project, because the book's natural colour was orange. That didn't really match. And so we just find the middle of the book and put the elastic through the middle like that. And that will hold your notes in place inside the book. And like I say, you could separate these two strings and have two books in there if you really wanted. But for this project, I'm just going to stick the one in. But not yet, because now it's time to add all the pages. So let's have a look what we've got. Let's put them in some kind of order. I don't want, there's a couple with the same pattern, and I don't want the same pattern close to each other. So where's the same patterned ones? There and there. So if we put that one at the back and that one at the front, then front, back, like that and like that. I think that'll do. Yep, I think that'll do. That's the order we're going for. So now we've just got to put them on this bit. So I've got my glue, which is tacky glue, so it dries pretty fast and it's pretty sturdy. Good stuff that is. I can link that in the description if you want. And I've got my pot of clips just in case it needs to be held for a little while. Better to be over prepared than not prepared at all. So let's go. I'll have a look how this is going to go. So we do have space for 10. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave these two inside ones spare, just because it will give the book a bit extra room. And we'll go from this edge here and slide them all on like that and just hold them into place. So what we're going to do is you're going to wish me luck and I'm going to start gluing. So I'm just going to put a line down there on that side and a line down this side, hopefully, without trying to get glue on anything else, because we don't want glue on anything else, just that bit. Okay, so let's slide it in so gently and push it as far down as it'll go, making sure it's central. Then we're going to give it a good press and a good squeeze. I'm sorry, just shook the camera, got a bit overzealous with my pushing there. There we go. So that's going to need just a bit of time to stick and to settle. So we'll push that down really well and get on with the next one, which is going to be this one. Okay, so now all the messy jobs are done. We're just going to give it a little while longer because it's not been glued that long. So I'm not going to open it up just yet to show you the finished product. But what we're going to do is we're going to put, sorry, my hands are completely covered in glue from this project. You will have to excuse me. We're just going to go around the edges and just finish them off. Just to protect the edges. I think that's a nice finish. I mean, if you wanted to, you could add a clasp on it or anything. Where you take this is completely up to you. I will list all the measurements that I've used. Obviously you can make it any size that you want, but I will list all the measurements that I've used for you, just in case. But shall we have a look inside, shall we? Oh, and don't forget you can hang something off this bit, which I won't do because my eldest daughter's going to uni. I was making it for me because I've got paper all over my kitchen with all different recipes on, but she's come down and she's come to see me and she's like, oh, I could do with one of those for uni, Mum. So I've lost it. I'm gonna have to make another one. So I'll let her choose what she decides to dangle off there. But here we go. Everything's there. And the book in the middle. That obviously that comes out, we know this. The very last thing to do is the recipe cards that I showed you earlier, which were from Etsy. I've just printed them out double-sided and cut them out and inked the edges. I'll link to that Etsy page in the description. All that's left is put some recipe cards in it. So I'll put some in the front, I think, and some in the back. And obviously you don't have to put the recipe cards in. This will end up having a lot of printed off, probably BBC Good Food recipes or something in it, because I know that's what's definitely on the top of my microwave. I've been trying to get the kids to eat some different things during the holidays, but, well, you know what that's like. So there's the pockets. Let's get one in this pocket. And I hope she uses this, because every time she does while she's at uni, hopefully it'll remind her of me, because I know I'll be missing her. There we go. So all the recipe cards are in now, so she's got a good place to start. She's got some extras to write in. Oh, that bit's not quite dry yet. But like I say, I have just finished it, so it's a bit early to be moving it around so much, but I just couldn't wait to show you the finished product. So I'm going to let it dry for now, and I'll give it a proper flip through when it's dry, just to finish the video off. But I hope you've had a nice time with me, and I hope you've got some inspiration. And I hope something like this finds its way into your kitchen. But thanks ever so much for coming and joining me for this project. I hope to see you soon, and I hope you like and subscribe. And goodbye.